I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, time for a recap on my playbook when it comes to buying real estate, holding real estate, investing for your retirement, and just overall financial security in life. So I've done quite a few blogs over the last 14 years on this, talk a lot about it in my book as well, the steps that you want to take here. But it's always good for a refresher because I see in my comment section all the time people wondering, I want to buy an investment property. I think a lot of these TV shows and things on investing in real estate really spurs people on that way, but they haven't yet bought their principal residence, or they haven't started maxing out their TFSA and RRSP, and they're kind of doing it in the wrong order, in my opinion. So again, just as a refresher here are my steps towards financial security here. Step one, it's always been this way. Your very first step, your number one priority financially, and just in life in general, is to buy your principal residence. That should always be step number one. Get out of that renter quicksand. You're doing a number of things by buying your principal residence. You're not throwing money down the drain to your landlord. And I know there's still some people out there that seem to think that, hey, renting long-term is the way to go. It's not. Do the math on it. The toughest part to getting into home ownership is getting that down payment, that 10, 15, 20%. Once you've got the down payment together, it is smooth sailing after that, because your cost to hold that property aren't going to be much more, even in some cases, depending on the interest rate, less than what it's costing you to rent. But the other things you're doing with buying your principal residence is you are taking advantage of the only true tax shelter we get in this country. They don't give us anything in Canada. We are taxed to death here. The only thing that's still out there is the principal resident exemption. It has minted more millionaires and multimillionaires in this country than all other sources combined. And it will continue that way. Keep it simple. You buy a $1 million condo today. 20 years from now, my rule of thumb is 18 to 20 years from now, it'll be double. And I'm using very conservative numbers there. That $1 million capital gain goes to you tax-free when you sell it. 100% tax-free. To get $1 million clear in a stock portfolio unregistered, you're going to need $2 million because you're going to be taxed on it fairly heavily, or $1.7 million. So the principal residence is the biggest thing. The other thing, of course, is you're using leverage. You're putting 20% down, borrowing the other 80%. Again, I've done lots of blogs on leverage, how it's the multiplier, how it's the wealth multiplier when it comes to using real estate and the leverage. But that should be your first step. After that, I've told you guys, the second step should be getting your TFSA and your RRSP maxed out. And I'll go one step better. I think even before the third step, which to perhaps buy an investment property, you have a good handle on your non-registered investments. So you're buying stocks, equities outside of your RRSP and TFSA because you've maxed those two vehicles out. Keep in mind, guys, even if you max out your TFSA and RRSP from a very young age, I started maxing out as soon as I started working when I was about 18 or 19. Even if you max those out from a very young age, if you want any type of real robust retirement, the TFSA and RRSP even maxed out is probably not going to take you there. It'll give you a basic retirement. But if you want something much beyond that, you're going to have a whole lot of money in outside of those two vehicles in what we call a cash account or non-registered account. So you want to get a handle on both those. And the only way to go, you're not going to save your way to retirement. You've got to invest it. And that would be through low-cost ETFs, or doing your due diligence in buying high quality equities. The Apples, the Amazons, the Metas, the Johnson & Johnsons, Procter & Gamble, Costco, Visa, that kind of thing. The third and final step, perhaps, depending on your situation, might be to buy an investment property. Buy a $700,000 condo downtown, put a tenant in it, rent it out, and got it for a long period of time. My golden rule is always a minimum of 8 to 10 years to absorb those friction costs, but hopefully much longer. I've told you guys I've got properties I'm holding for over 30 years, 25 and 30 years that are now clear title. You let those capital gains grow uninterrupted. They're not taxed until you sell it. And it's an excellent way to diversify your other holdings. i.e. your stock portfolio. You don't want to have all your savings and investments in one basket. So that would be the 3 steps. Principal residence first. Max out your TFSA and RRSP via low-cost ETFs and probably get a good handle on your non-registered accounts as well. Then third and final might be to diversify. Again, use that leverage, put 20 or 25% down, take control of a nice 1-bedroom condo downtown, put a tenant in, and hang on to it. That's the steps. That's the steps I've used. If you read my book, that's my playbook, and it worked extremely well for me, and it'll work extremely well for you as well. I'm Owen Bigland. Thanks for watching. See you next week.